Credo Mutwa saw it long before anyone else dared to admit it. The prophetic words in the image weren't just warnings. They were an outline of a plan that's been unfolding, right under the noses of the people. The idea that black South Africans could become endangered in their own land is no longer just a distant possibility. It's happening, and the political forces shaping this nightmare aren't working in isolation. Whether it's the DA with their liberal economic policies, the ANC with its facade of black empowerment, or the EFF screaming about land expropriation, none of these parties truly serve the interests of black South Africans. They're all pawns in a larger game, one that's slowly replacing the native population with foreign nationals. South Africa has become a breeding ground for this slow displacement, and no one is willing to call it what it is. Xenophobia is the label they slap on any black South African who dares to speak out about the flood of foreign nationals pouring into the country. But when the streets of Johannesburg are filled with more non-South Africans than locals, isn't it time to ask what's really going on? Why is it that the ANC, the so-called Liberation Party, allows this influx while millions of its own citizens languish in poverty? It's almost as if the ANC, like the DA and EFF, has sold out to external forces, ensuring that black South Africans are pushed further and further to the margins. It's not hard to see how this is happening. The foreign nationals come in droves, taking over small businesses, informal trading, and jobs that could easily go to South Africans. The government turns a blind eye. The DA pretends it's all about economic liberalization, while the ANC keeps making promises it never fulfills. The EFF's radical rhetoric about land and economic freedom is a distraction, a smokescreen for the real agenda. If they cared about black South Africans, why do they ignore the impact of foreign nationals who outnumber the locals in some areas? This is a slow coup, not a violent overthrow, but a quiet replacement of a people in their own land. It's no coincidence that there's a growing push for open borders, or that politicians in all three major parties advocate for Pan-Africanism without any sense of caution. Open borders only benefit the political elites and the corporations who thrive on cheap labor. Foreign nationals don't come here to help South Africa grow. They come because it's an easy place to exploit. They come because the DA, ANC, and EFF don't have the spine to put their own people first. It's no wonder unemployment among black South Africans remains sky high, while foreign nationals manage to carve out livelihoods in every city. The political elite are complicit in this grand displacement, pocketing their rewards while the people they claim to serve are left to fight for scraps. And where do we see the most damage? In the townships, in the rural areas, places where black South Africans have been left to fend for themselves. The ruling class, the DA, ANC, and EFF leaders, are comfortable in their suburban homes while the masses face an uncertain future. Credo Mutwa's warning was not about mere loss of culture. It was about survival, about the looming extinction of the black South African identity. The politicians know this. They know the threat that foreign nationals pose, but they do nothing because they are part of the plan. They are merely gatekeepers for the global powers that want Africa's resources but don't care about its people. Land expropriation, economic freedom, black empowerment. All these slogans mean nothing when the people shouting them are working to replace you. It's not a conspiracy theory if it's happening right in front of us. Black South Africans are already an endangered species in their cities, soon to be endangered in their rural areas. And when the smoke clears, the DA, ANC, and EFF will all stand by, shrugging their shoulders, as though they hadn't engineered this displacement from the very beginning.